Vanderbilt all of a sudden has a tough recruiting battle ahead of them over an unexpected recruit from an unexpected school. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy part of your day, and shout out to you everydayers. And on this episode, we're going to look at an all of a sudden recruiting battle for 2026 quarterback Michael Mitchell. Stanford has decided they want to offer, and GM Andrew Luck has made things intriguing. Will Mitchell flip? Should he flip? We'll talk about it. All right. With NCAA 26 coming out very soon, we get a sneak peek of how the doors are ranked. 10 Vandy players are above 80, and the team overall is an 83. Pretty good bump from what is usually a pretty poor ranking. So Vanderbilt's getting a lot of respect here from EA Sports, and they came out with their rankings of stadiums as well. We're going to get into that. And then we're going to wrap by discussing new baseball commit Carter Johnstone from Cal State Fullerton. He is the brother of Logan Johnstone, and the Vandy boys are starting to pick up a little bit of steam in the transfer portal. So that's exciting news as well. But thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And this episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So these recruiting battles happen all the time, everywhere, right? Teams get locked up in recruiting battles, flips, late offers, surprise visits, things like that. But Vanderbilt's they're never really involved in these things. Like, it's never really not in years past. It's never really been a battle in years past. Usually it's, hey, this dude's going to flip, and then he's going to flip, right? Happened with Caden Harris. You can't really battle with Georgia if you're Vanderbilt right now anyway. But like those are the things that usually happen. But I think right now, Michael Mitchell, who's been committed since September from the class of 26 at quarterback, he just got offered by Stanford. Now, what makes this intriguing is normally that probably wouldn't move the needle on the radar at all, but Stanford is the hometown team. They're right in the Palo Alto Bay Area. And so I think this is a hometown offer that I'm not sure that he wants to pass up, right? I think he's very much intrigued by it, and he is very much considering going to Stanford. Now, they've had some turmoil, and they've had a little bit of things happening with their football staff and all that stuff. But General Manager Andrew Luck, that's his new gig now. He is taken over, and he is, well, he's doing a pretty good job, right? And so I think when you look at just how kind of things are going, they hired Ron Rivera as a head coach. They hired Frank Reich as a head coach. They had that turmoil at the, in the wintertime with Coach Taylor and all of that stuff. So I think this Stanford program is like rebuilding a little bit, rebuilding their image and just trying to figure out, what direction they want to go. They're getting some transfer guys. They're trying to build back up the roster. But to me, when you look at this battle, when you analyze this battle, yeah, the hometown thing is very intriguing. But in looking at, not sure what Stanford's going to look like offensively, identity-wise, not sure what they're going to look like as a team overall, identity-wise, record-wise. Are they still going to be a mess? Like, what is Michael Mitchell about to get into if he flips over to Stanford? Now, obviously, his parents, it'll be right down the road for them to come see him play. That's a huge deal. But I think, honestly, for his future, I think academics, Stanford and Vanderbilt are on even par. Depending on what he wants to major in, Vanderbilt might even be better. I think as far as an up-and-coming city, Nashville is an up-and-coming city. It's in a great, stable state. And I think there's some things, there's some factors around this university decision that could keep him in Nashville. So what I ask is, the question I pose is, how does Vanderbilt prevent Michael Mitchell from flipping his commitment to Stanford? I leave that in the comments. But how do they prevent that from happening? Well, here's one thing. Okay, they just pop on the film and say, look, we have a certified program builder in Jerry Kill and Tim Beck running the offense. They have shown and they have proven that this offense works in the SEC. They had diminished talent. Their numbers weren't great, but they won 7 games. And it only goes up really from here. Like they have another quarterback, or they have their quarterback coming back for another year is what I meant to say. And this quarterback is a lot like Michael Mitchell. And this is, I think honestly, this offense is tailor-made for his skill set. And I think with the RPOs, the running ability, and just the nature of the offense, I think it's going to be a perfect fit for what Mitchell wants to do football-wise with his career. Like I think they could really showcase his strengths. And if he's thinking about flipping, you have to give it a little bit of pause, because like is it the right move for your future developmentally? Now, yeah, it's the hometown school. It's, your friends and family can come conveniently watch you play. It's right down the road, like all of life's conveniences by going to the school nearby is there, and it's alluring. Andrew Luck is sure as heck a really good figure to talk to. I mean, he was, before his career was cut short he got banged up and injured too much, and he retired early. But that, Frank Reich, who's been an NFL head coach, a successful NFL coach with the Colts. He was a successful NFL player as a career backup, led the biggest comeback in NFL playoff history with the Bills against the Oilers. Like, there's some things pedigree-wise that I think Vanderbilt has to fight against. But the ultimate thing is this. Can Stanford, at this point in time, can they develop him? Can they feature him? Can they get him ready for whatever he wants in the next step of his life? Can they provide the NIL package that they want? Can they give him the financial packages that he may want or command, right? Can they pull that off? I don't think that they can. I don't think that at this point in time, where they are as a program, I just don't think he's walking into a great situation out there. Will they be at some point? Yeah, probably. I think Andrew Luck is working like mad to get them back to a level to where they were previously under David Shaw. But I think you have to be patient in that. And if he wants to be patient, great. But I think his skill set would fit best at Vanderbilt. And I think if he goes to Vanderbilt, he will develop into a really good quarterback. He, just looking at his attributes, he has a smooth delivery. He's got a ton of poise. Like, nothing rattles him. He's athletic, but he wants to push the ball down the field. I think that's going to be his biggest attribute, is when he's scrambling, his eyes are downfield. He has a great feel for the rush and what's happening around him without having to take his eyes off of what's happening downfield. And he can deliver a strike on the run, and he's really good throwing off platform. And so, and he's really good at the RPO stuff as well. And with what Vanderbilt does, I find it hard to believe that with what Vanderbilt does offensively, the culture they're building, the fact that you're playing in the SEC, the fact that your revenue share is probably going to be very good when you get there. Your NIL potential is going to be stellar in the city of Nashville. And like I said, I'm going to reiterate, you're playing in the SEC, you're getting SEC type film, and the NFL has more eyes on you than they would at Stanford. Not saying that they would never see you at Stanford, but like you're going against Texas, LSU, Tennessee, Georgia, maybe eventually, Ole Miss, maybe eventually, Mississippi State, maybe eventually, Kentucky, South Carolina, the list goes on, Texas, like Oklahoma eventually. You're going against the country's best teams, and if you just look at the top 25, it's just littered with SEC competition. So you're playing against the best. You're not getting that in the ACC. It's just I like the effort. But he's been committed to Vanderbilt since September, and I think there's a reason for that. So I'm not, I think it's going to be a tough road, and Vanderbilt's going to have to prove, and they're going to have to dig out of that hometown lure, and they're going to have to convince him that, hey, we've been on you for a long time. Stanford is just now getting in the mix. They don't really know about you. They don't really appreciate you like we do. Stay with us, you'll be fine. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I think he's visiting this weekend, actually, to Stanford, and it is a little concerning that he just quickly set up a visit real fast. But I think he just wants to be sure, and I think ultimately he'll decide, and whatever he decides is okay. I'm not going to be mad at him, but I just don't think it's wise for him developmentally, NIL potential, to go to Stanford right now. I don't think that's wise, but what can I do? NCAA is coming out 26, NCAA 26, and that's going to be an interesting deal. So, are you going to spend all your money on a new console or the game? Well, Vandy's ranked very, very well in this edition, so we're going to talk about that next. Well, I bet you're wondering where all your money went. And with NCAA 26 coming out, part of it probably went to buying that game and maybe even buying the console that you need to use to play that game. Well, Monarch Money is this. Have you ever wished saving your money and managing your money felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO. It gives you full visibility and control over your finances. So Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. So there's, again, has everything in one app made it easier to manage money day to day? Yeah, of course. It's very, efficiency is key. And that might be just as valuable as the money that you're managing. Having everything in one app is an absolute game changer, right? It is an absolute game changer. And like I said, having it in one app is just so simple. And it takes a lot of stress out of managing your money so you can focus on the most important aspects of managing your money. So take control of your finances now with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. All right, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We appreciate you every day. Or shout out to you guys. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you need a second listen, Chris Gordy, Locked On SEC, place to go. And the whole network of SEC shows all of them are amazing. We just added a Mississippi State show not long ago to round out the entire conference. The entire conference is represented. I'm pretty sure we got a new Locked On A&M host, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it, man. This is going to be a really good year, really good season for Vanderbilt. It's going to be a really good season for the Locked On Podcast Network. So be sure to check out our shows. All right, but the NCAA rankings are out for they've been leaked. I mean, obviously they're out because the game, people that play the game are going to see. But some of the rankings are leaked. They don't have all of them, but I think for a lot of programs they've kind of released the notable guys. So for Vanderbilt, they had 10 guys ranked above 80. That's impressive because Vanderbilt would be lucky to have 3 guys ranked in the 80s. But here's how the rankings shook out, I should say. Eli Stowers is the highest ranked. He's pictured, so I put his ranking right below him. He's a 93. Jordan White, a 90. So two guys in the 90s. Diego Pavia, 88. I feel like that's maybe a little low, but might be kind of accurate. Martel Height and Randon Fontenette coming in at 87. Cedric Alexander, 86. Junior Sherrill, Langston Patterson, and the Brocket launcher, Brock Taylor, 83. And Keanu Coate, 82. And I'm sure there's some guys that are slightly below that. But the team rankings, overall ranking of an 83, offense 85, defense 82, special teams 83. So I think this is really good. I think this is very respectful, very respected ranking. And I think it shows that Vanderbilt is a team that it should be taken seriously. And they're a team that is being taken serious now. FanDuel, I don't think they got in on that. I think FanDuel probably released this line. I think it's sitting at 5.5 now. So if you got in at 4.5, good on you. But with NCAA, like, this is exciting because, like, playing with teams like Vanderbilt is usually what people are like, oh, well, I'll just play with a team that sucks. So let me play with Vanderbilt. Like, they suck all the time. So, like, let me play with them. But honestly, that's not the case anymore. You've got a dynamic tight end with Eli Stowers at 93, Diego Pavia 88, which a lot of that's his running ability. And I'll be honest, playing with Vanderbilt for me would be a complete waste because I'm terrible at doing all the option stuff and all the RPO stuff, which I think if you're playing with Vanderbilt, you have to do that stuff to be able to take advantage of playing true to what Vanderbilt wants to do system-wise. So Vanderbilt's a terrible fit for me playing the game. But it's mostly just user error. It's mostly just because I can't do the things that Vandy does well. But if you're good at that, Vandy's going to be a really, really nasty team to play with. Like Diego Pavia, I think they haven't released like individual categories, but I imagine his elusiveness is pretty high. I imagine his speed is pretty good. He's got better accuracy on his throws, better power on his throws. Probably like they've boosted his ratings, and I'd be curious to go back, and I might do this on a future episode, but go back to kind of see what Vanderbilt is ranked in NCAA 2025 when they were coming off a 2-10 season. I think they were, if I had to guess, this is my prediction, they were overall team ranking of like 74, 75-ish. And I think they probably had like 3-4 players in the 80s, and the rest were in the 70s and 60s. And they probably just didn't get much love in the NCAA 25 game because, I mean, they didn't really deserve it. But this is kind of exciting, man. Like, here's like the three names that I thought would be at the top offensively are there. Eli Stowers, Jordan White, Diego Pavia. Those are the three big-time playmakers on this offense. Everything's going to revolve around them. Jordan White's an elite center, and he's ranked just that way. Martel Height, I think, is ranked 87th because his prowess in special teams, and the people at EA Sports don't realize that he's going to be playing offense a little bit too. Brandon Fontenette is your highest-rated defensive player, which I think makes total sense because he's going to be the most impactful defensive player for Vanderbilt. And then Langston Patterson is next at 83 on the defense. I think the defense, honestly, is ranked a little bit too low. I think there's too many guys that aren't on this list from the defense. Like I think Glenn Seabrook should be ranked a little higher. I think Miles Capers should be ranked a little higher. I think there should be, a safety ranked up in there. There might be some guys that are 81, 82. There might be some guys under Keanu Coate that are ranked that way. But Junior Sherrill, Cedric Alexander, 86, 83, pretty good, pretty good representatives of the offense. Brock Taylor coming in pretty good within special teams, pretty solid actually. But I think overall, when you look at these rankings, it's just like I said, it's very respectable for a team that is on the rise, but we know they're not quite there yet. So, hey, it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. Like, these rankings are going to make it fun to play with Vanderbilt. Like, you don't have to go and play with the Ohio States and the Michigans and the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Texases of the world to have fun playing this game. Like, I think especially if you're good at like all the option stuff and all the RPO stuff, go play with Vanderbilt. That team is going to be fun to play with. So I'm very excited about that. But in other NCAA news, the EA Sports version of NCAA, they came out with their rankings of the top 25 stadiums, hardest stadiums, most difficult stadiums to play in. And this list was very interesting. And I think they based their game off of this list. And so tell me what you think. Okay. Let me know how you feel like these rankings shake out. Now, obviously Vanderbilt Stadium is not on there, but if you ask Alabama, it's not the same. But I can tell you this. I don't see Vanderbilt Stadium. Like, if you want to compare Vanderbilt Stadium, I don't know where they would be if they extended this list, but I just have a hard time believing Carter Finley Stadium is tougher than Vanderbilt Stadium. I think they take into account that Vanderbilt is a home away from home for a lot of teams. But I have a hard time believing that it's I don't think it's a harder place to play than Kentucky. I think most of your SEC stadiums are going to be harder than Carter Finley Stadium. I just don't see it. Davis Wade, out of all the SEC stadiums that could be right there in that spot, I don't think Davis Wade is that. I don't see Arkansas Stadium. I don't know what it's called, but their stadium should be in there over Mississippi State. I think Ole Miss's stadium should be in there over Mississippi State. I think Kentucky Stadium is a low-key difficult place to play. I think that's all the ones that aren't already on this list, but I think those should be considered. I think Faurot Field is more difficult than Davis Wade for Missouri. So yeah, I don't agree with that one. Spartan Stadium, I don't get that one either. Boone Pickens, I think, should be above all of those. I think Carter Finley, Spartan Stadium, and Davis Wade should be wiped out of the list. I think you should throw in those aforementioned SEC stadiums in there. Not to be an SEC homer, but like, those are tough places to play. Tiger Stadium, obviously, we can debate number one. I think the Shoe is probably up there. I think Bryant-Denny is tough. Stanford. I mean, any one of those, you could shuffle that top 5, top 6 any way you want to, and it'd probably be right. Neyland should be a little bit higher. Kyle Field should be a little bit higher. I think Williams-Brice should be higher. Doe Campbell should be lower. Camp Randall should be lower as well. But I think this list is fairly good. Those are the adjustments I would make in short notice. But that's again, that's here we go. But the Vandy boys got a new commit. They're after kind of they were a little bit slow out of the gates in the transfer portal, but they're starting to pick up some steam now. We're going to talk about who their recruit is next. All right. Rugiet. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast. On average, in about 15 minutes. It's pretty quick. And the effects, they can last up to 36 hours too, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rugiet may be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. And I love that it's completely online. Rugiet connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. So no big embarrassing boxes. So you can even read real customer reviews on their site. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. So head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compound drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing review. So please visit Rugiet website for full safety information. All right, wrapping up the show here. Like the great Yogi Berra said, it got late early, but wanted to highlight Vandy baseball again for a second, because I think a lot of people have have been a little hard on Vandy baseball, and rightfully so. They get knocked out in the regionals, and you don't love that, but I mean, here we are. But they have landed Cal State Fullerton third baseman Carter Johnstone. He was first team All Big West selection. He hit .344 with 14 doubles, 7 home runs, and 42 runs driven in. He was also a freshman All-American as well. He was a second team freshman All-American, and he was selected as Big West Freshman Player of the Year. So you're getting a dude that can rake a little bit. I mean, he's hitting. He led the Big West in batting average, runs scored during conference play with a .415 average and 34 runs scored. So he is the brother of Washington State transfer Logan Johnstone, who's also committed to Vanderbilt. And he's gonna, honestly, he gets in the mix right away for an infield spot. And I think it's going to be interesting with you got Braden Holcomb, I think, who can play in the outfield and in the infield. You've got Brody Johnston, who was also freshman All-American at that third base spot. Maybe he moves over to first. Maybe maybe both of those guys play the corners. Maybe one of them DHs. And you got, of course, some other guys, some other things like Colin Barzy at catcher. You've got a shortstop to replace. But it's going to be kind of an interesting, way to construct the lineup. Logan Johnstone, I think, will probably take over in center field. Like, he's going to be kind of the base hitter center fielder. But it's going to be, like I said, this is a good addition to the ball club. I think with Jason Esposito. I was about to say Joe Esposito. With Jason Esposito coming in as a hitting coach, I think the approach to how they want to recruit, how they want to build the lineup, and how they want to approach at bats is becoming more and more clear. Like, they're getting guys that are hitting for good average, that have good power numbers, and I think they're gonna, they're obviously striving to recreate kind of what makes college baseball teams really, really good. That's good power, good balance in the lineup, and of course elite pitching, which they do have. So, with each transfer portal guy, you get another layer of pop in the lineup, and that's kind of what you want. You want those things to be able to happen for you, and you want those. You need those bats in the lineup, and you need those guys that can slug, that can drive in runs, that can do all of that stuff. And you just add another piece, right? And this is something that. That I think this baseball team is going to benefit from moving forward. Like Mac Whitcomb comes in, OVC Player of the Year. That's a good addition. And then you get all these other guys, right? And you get all these other commits and other recruits and things like that. That I think with NIL being the way it is, I think. The revenue share stuff, there's got to be some sort of inkling with the recent surge of recruits. So there's got to be some sort of inkling that they're going to pay a little bit bigger percentage to baseball than usual. So that'll be interesting. Kind of as all of this information unfolds, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be, you're going to see this baseball team kind of take shape. But before we go, shout out to David Price. He was inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame. He was one of 21 college baseball standouts to be inducted in the 25 class of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. He was Golden Spikes winner. He led Vanderbilt to SEC regular season and tournament titles in 2007 before being selected by the Rays as the number 1 overall pick. He was, he went 11-1 in 2007 with a 2.63 ERA, 194 strikeouts over 133 innings. So he set Vandy season records for both strikeouts and innings pitched, right? And so he is, he's had an elite, stellar Major League Baseball career as well. So congratulations to David Price on that. And this baseball team is still, they're still building. He kind of helped build the foundation of what this baseball team is today. He kind of helped in establishing that. And I think they're going to get back to those winning ways. And I have no doubt the Johnstone brothers are going to be two very integral parts in what happens in 26 for this Vandy boys team. But that's all the fun we have. I did watch the All Access, the Vanderbilt All Access. So I got some comments from that, got some reactions from that, plus whatever recruiting news we have coming up and some other things, some other topics that may be on your mind. We'll talk more about that on the next episode. But until then, we'll see you back here next time on the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Follow the show at Locked On Vandy. Anchor down. Behave yourselves. Peace.